Time to look at your markets now. Traders are waiting to see if Chinese stocks can extend their big rally amid reports that regulators have asked financial institutions to extend more support to stressed property developers. Meanwhile, cryptocurrencies remain under pressure amid FTX's deepening woes. Locally, Shoprite reported first quarter sales growth of 18.6% as financially constrained consumers flocked to its budget chains for discounts. Telecoms giant Telkom expects its earnings to fall by over half for the first half of its 2023 financial year. This is on the back of changes between its mobile postpaid and prepaid mix and an increasing cost base. Meanwhile, Telecom's operator Vodacom said its half-year headline earnings fell 9.5%, impacted by startup losses in Ethiopia and higher finance costs. However, to talk to us about the general market performance, we are joined by Lukman Otunuga, who's a senior research analyst at FXTM. Lukman, thank you so much for your time. I mean, let's go back to last week for a bit here, and you look back at the US CPI data. What surprised you the most? Was it the actual figure, or was it how the markets reacted to it?
Thank you for having me here this morning, Nastasia. It's always a pleasure. I think the fact that annual inflation dropped to 7.7% in October, the lowest seen since January 2022, was what surprised me. Markets were expecting inflation pressures to moderate, but the fact that this came in below market expectations and a massive drop from the 8.2 witnessed in September really set the scene. Everything else was widely expected. We saw markets cheer as, speculations of the Federal Reserve adopting a less aggressive approach towards monetary policy supported equity markets. The S&P had its single best day surge since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Even the dollar index tumbled like a house of cards. I think moving forward, the fact that inflationary pressures are easing in the world's largest economy, this is going to set the tone, and we're going to see more gains in equity markets and more dollar weakness moving forward.
How confident are you that they're easing? Because you listen to some of the Fed presidents saying that we're going to need to see a series of soft data points before we're actually convinced that we can take our foot off the brakes.
Certainly. Earlier this morning, we had a hawkish comment from a Fed official that was trying to moderate markets to say that, look, even though inflationary pressures seem to be easing, it may be too early to jump the gun. Certainly, I think moving forward, though, if you look at what Bloomberg is projecting and the Fed and the message that the Fed has already signaled earlier that, yes, rates may be higher than what markets expected. However, the speed and the aggression is going to dial down. So moving forward in December, the Fed is expected to raise rates by only 50 basis points. Moving forward, as time goes on and inflation pressures continue to moderate, the Fed is going to take its foot off the pedal, resulting in more dollar weakness and a breath of fresh air for equity markets.
How would you describe market sentiment towards China, given the fact that we're clinging on these hopes of at least some kind of relaxation when it comes to COVID measures?
Certainly, you said something interesting earlier about seeing if Chinese stocks may rally, but we have to keep in mind that the second largest economy is dealing with a property crisis and the fallout from the harsh COVID-19 zero policies. We have to keep in mind that even though economic growth for the third quarter beat market expectations at 3.9% year-on-year, sentiment towards the second largest economy still remains fragile. We just need to look at the fact that back in October, capital outflows was 8.8 billion, as international investors pulled money out of China due to the uncertainty. Even though Chinese authorities have, unveiled the sweeping measures to rescue the struggling property market, I feel it's far too early to celebrate, and overall, give it a few weeks to a few months. We have to see how things play out before coming to a conclusion. Moving forward, though, I think once the euphoria cools down, the fragile sentiment and the risk of mood from China could contaminate global markets.
Let's stay on your side of the world in the UK. The British pound's performance since the beginning of the fourth quarter. How would you characterize that?
It's been incredibly interesting, Nastasia. I mean, the pound has appreciated against almost every single G10 currency since the start of Q4, gaining a whopping 5% against the dollar. I mean, of course, this is based on the fact that the UK government, was able to clear out the uncertainty, its mess, and offer some clarity over the future fiscal plan. However, though, the underlying themes within the UK economy still remain present. There's growing concerns that the UK is already in a recession. We've still got political noise we're dealing with. And on top of this post-Brexit related drama that just seems to be coming on and off. When we add all these pieces together, I think the pound may be experiencing a short-term bounce, but in 2023, as the reality sets in and the Bank of England remains cautious on raising rates, the pound is likely to trend lower.
Before I let you go, what do you make of the FXTX saga and, the broader contagion, if at all, that could be a realization? I mean, what's your sense of it?
It's been like a scene from one of those Netflix series. The bankruptcy filing we saw last Friday was a massive deal for the crypto market, and it's actually raised concerns of the future of cryptocurrency. Since the filing has included over 130 affiliated companies, things could get really, really messy. However, though, interestingly, the broader equity market seem to have shrugged this off, with investors still focused on the macroeconomic themes, influencing sentiment like falling inflation, global growth concerns, and corporate earnings. The key thing is contagion. Are we going to have a contagion? The contagion could be ugly in the crypto space, especially as we know that various crypto investment firms like Genesis have all had their capital fixed in FTX. This could have a ripple effect, hit the credibility of the crypto space in general and find itself back to Bitcoin, which is already speculated to tumble over the next few weeks to months. However, though, this seems like a crypto problem right now. We need to see how things play out to see whether it may find itself outside the crypto space and impact a few markets.
Lukman, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That is Lukman Otsinuga, who's a senior research analyst at FXTX. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will be looking at Vodacom's interim results with Shamil Chisou.